Hey guys, this is Ix with Rollout Reviews, bringing you another LBX review. This time it is Danball Senki Wars Valdiver. Now, Valdiver, much like Trivine and Dot Blasterizer, is the second unit of Hikaru and the successor of Valsparos for the second half of Wars. Taking a look at the manual here, we can see some product images of the model all painted up to look nice by a professional modeler. You're not going to get something that looks this good right out of the box. There is Hikaru there, and if we take a look inside, we can see full color instructions, very easy to follow. On the back, we have a little comic here, just showing off Valdiver there. And that is about it. So let's take a look at the model in further detail. Now, before I delve into Valdiver individually, I wanted to get the comparison with Valsparos out of the way first. So here the two are together, and at first glance, they look pretty different. The brighter color scheme of this guy, the shoulders, and the head sculpt really unify the two of them well. However, if you take a closer look at them, they are very, very similar. Even more similar than Orvane and Trivine. The chest sections, the entirety of the legs, except for the heels, and the lower arms are exactly the same between the two, except differently colored. Now, usually this would be a good thing. The details of this guy are very cool, and they carry over well to the black color scheme. However, what also carries over is the excessive amount of stickers on the chest piece, the ones above, below, and wrapping all the way around. Now, if you didn't have a problem with those stickers, this shouldn't be a problem for you at all. But if you didn't like applying those stickers on this guy, nothing is going to change over here. All of the stickers are exactly the same. So that's a little unfortunate, but there's nothing you can really do about it other than not applying the stickers at all. Speaking of which, I messed up the stickers on the chin section of Valsparos. These lower sections are supposed to be gray, covering this blue piece that continues up here. Now, this sort of made sense on this guy because these sections are supposed to be blue, and only the lower section is supposed to be gray. However, you'll notice that Valdiver also has these chin protrusions. However, here, it makes even less sense because the blue piece that these stickers cover is singular. It's a single blue piece. Why they didn't just mold this piece in gray is completely beyond me. So that's a little unfortunate. Something that could have been avoided, but wasn't, just because of lazy design, I guess. Although I do like the head sculpt of Valdiver. I personally like this a little bit better than Valsparos, but that's up to you, I suppose. Differences between the two continue on to the shoulders, which don't get in the way nearly as much as the ones on Valsparos. They're a lot more subtle, and I like that aspect to them. The heels are also changed. They have these little fins here and a much flatter bottom. This is so much better. It makes him stand so much more solidly than Valsparos. For some reason, like, the details on the bottom of these made him really, really wobbly, at least on mine. But here, he's rock solid, and that's a much-needed improvement. Another big change, obviously, is his big backpack here, this big booster jetpack engine. I really like the look of this. It has some ball joints here. You can move them all the way around. Valdiver actually flies as opposed to Valsparos, who just kind of had a plain theme to him, even though he couldn't actually lift off. This guy can actually go airborne, so maybe a action base or Tamashi stage would be nice to get this guy airborne. Now, this section can come off, like all of the other multi-gimmick sacks, so you can replace those with other units. And it rotates. I like how it looks like the jet engines of an SR-71. I think it's a really smart progression from a fighter jet theme to a stealth bomber thing, considering that he's a ninja, and stealth is what they're all about. I think that's really cool. The black color scheme also works towards that as well. Now, instead of the big Fuma shuriken, he has this sword here, this ninja katana, which is called the Teto Kikimaru. Kind of a overly dramatic name. I just think it looks like a sword. Oh well. But it's pretty bland. It's just black. It's 2 pieces, and I think they could have done a little bit better with this, at least made the blade a different color in the lighter gray, but for whatever the reason, they didn't, and it ends up looking a little bland, unfortunately. One thing I wish they did with this was make the handle circular. Here it's sort of rectangular shaped, and while that is accurate to the show, what that means is that it's pretty much impossible to get him holding it with 2 hands. You can get his arm over here, but it doesn't fit in the second hand, which is a little unfortunate in my opinion. Kind of limits the poses you can get this guy into. Speaking of poses, I'll go through the articulation quickly, because it's very, very similar to Valsparos. The head moves all the way around on a double joint, pretty limited just because of the chin sections, unfortunately, but there's that. The shoulders have a lot more movement just because of how they're shaped. I really like that improvement a lot. Rotation at the waist, elbows bend, rotate up here, ball joint in the wrist. Legs go forward and back, in and out on a ball joint. They kind of swivel as well. 90 degrees there, and a pretty expressive joint in the ankle. So, just as articulate as Valsparos, you can get really dynamic poses, all the same with this guy. But you also have the added bonus of the boosters back here, which you can move around however you like. You don't have as many options with this guy as you do with Valsparos, just because his weapon is a little less exciting, I think. Just the sword isn't quite as involved as the Fuma shuriken that turns into the daggers. So, you know, not as many display options. However, he still ends up looking really, really cool. And that's what it comes down to. If you like the way this guy looks, then by all means get him. But aside from what you see here, there's probably not going to be too many surprises. If you don't like applying stickers, then I'd say that this isn't really something you'd be all that into building. However, if the looks of him really do it for you, then I can't complain with that. The weapon is really simple, but it does really all it needs to. It's a sword, and I guess, again, I can't complain with that. So, kind of a cool LBX. I like the way it looks. It's a really cool progression of Valsparos, but unless you want to complete your second half first platoon, it might not be all that necessary. Anyway, that is about it, guys, and this is IX signing off.